Hey guys, welcome back to the Rubber Ding Dong. Um, I just want to give a disclaimer before before we get started here. I know I'm putting this out before I put an update video out, but I will be putting an update video out, kind of going through the changes that I'm making. I know I haven't put a video or even a relevant video on here in several years. I just wanted to get this started back up with some Sharks content, and I'll be putting up a video pretty soon, getting into what the differences are, what everything means, and what kind of videos I'll be putting out. So for anybody that cares, there's that coming out to clarify. But this is going to be a Sharks player power rankings. This is the first of its kind. I do realize that I'm starting in the middle of the season, and that is again something I'll touch on in that update video. But I recently had this idea, wanted to get started up, and I'm going to kind of take the rest of the season as a little testing ground, and then really get into it. Or not that I'm not getting into it now, but I'll get into it really in a really good way next year. We'll have everything tested out and everything ironed out and stuff like that. So we're doing a weekly Sharks player power ranking to kind of show where all the guys are at. I don't know if I'll do it weekly or bi-weekly, but we'll see. But I want to do the first of its kind here. I'll basically be going through the order in which I think the players are playing right now. This is a power rankings, so it's reactionary. It's how are they playing right now or over the past blah amount of weeks, whether it's one or two. I have their stats here over the past 10 games. Normally when I'll be doing this, I will have their stats over the time period in which it's been since the last power ranking. So if I do it every week, I'll have their weekly stats. I'm going to start from the bottom and go to the top. I first want to clarify that this on the right here normally will be last week's rankings. I'm realizing now that you can't see my cursor and I was circling it, but that big chunk of guys on the right side will be last week's rankings. You can compare it to the current week's, which I'll be populating on the left as we go through the video. Right now, this is just every full-time roster player on the Sharks right now in number order. So that's why Will Smith, who wears number 2, is first, and down there Kurashev is number 96, and he's last. This is the morgue, so this is the players on IR right now. I know there will be more than 5 players, or more than 6 even, to fill up the spot at any given time, but this is kind of where I wanted to put the injured players. Right now, Will Smith, Ty Dellandrea, Vinny Desharnais, Philip Kurashev, and Shakir Mukhamadullin are there. I was going to populate these cells with some stats for these guys, but I decided against it. Again, this is testing grounds for me, so... then this is the pits. I wanted to put this here as kind of the Hall of Shame. I know that's negative, but these are guys that really need to step it up. But I didn't feel like anyone deserved to be there this week. So, spoiler alert, no one was going to go in the pits. If this was made earlier in the season, there definitely would be some pits guys. But right now, I feel like everyone's playing pretty well. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get it started. And at number 22, because... there are 27 players, and 5 of them are injured. I'm not going to have the injured guys on, even though Dellandrea played, I think, 2 games. He played against Columbus, which was 4 games ago, so he's missed 3 games. But these 3 guys have missed a lot of games. Mook's missed less games, but we're going to start at number 22, and I'm going to nominate Mr. Nick Leddy for the last place here. Leddy's been in the lineup out of necessity, not out of the fact that he's a particularly amazing player. And he's always kind of been ideally a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th defenseman. Few key giveaways, and especially a bad play in that Dallas game after taking the penalty against Dallas when they're on the delayed call. He completely just gets in Nedeljkovic's way and lets in a goal, basically. I mean, the Sharks were going to go to the power play, and he was going to be in the box, but he single-handedly gave up a goal there by blocking the goalie from saving the shot after being the one to take the penalty. Nick Leddy's got 1 assist, and he has a -4 rating in his last 10 games. Not every player's stats will be the same stats. I just thought it was the particularly important stats. All right. Coming in at number 21, we're going to go with Mr. Timothy Liljegren over here. Another guy who I had in really high regards earlier in the season. Not another guy. This is a guy who I had in really high regards earlier in the season. I thought he was playing super well, but after being injured, he hasn't really come back the same. And, man, I really noticed how often he is screening his own goaltender. My goodness. Lilj, jeez, like, get out of get your butt out of their face. I mean, Askey can tell you what this guy ate for lunch every single time that Askey's in net. So Liljegren, who has 4 assists, he has 14 giveaways in his last 10 games, along with 23 block shots, which I think is pretty high up on the team. So it might even be number 1. So Liljegren, who hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been great either. Number 20, I'm putting Michael Misa. This might seem a little bit weird, seeing how he's only played 1 game since November 1st. But in that game against Vegas, which was the 7-2 loss, he was a +1 rating. He had a 44% faceoff percentage. I think being a +1 and a decent faceoff percentage in a game like that's impressive. And I'm really excited for Misa. And I'm really excited for him to get a little bit more ice time, especially with Delanger being out. That opens up a center spot for him to be in there taking faceoffs, taking important D-zone faceoffs and all that for Misa. So that excites me. Moving on to number 19, I'm going to throw Ryan Reeves in there. Revo hasn't been bad, but he's never going to be good, if that makes sense. He fits his role. Revo is a good fourth liner, clocking in at just under 10 minutes a night. He's got 1 goal and 26 hits in his last 10 games. And Revo is a staple on that fourth line. He got scratched against Vegas, which I thought was curious because it's Vegas, but whatever. Nothing was saving that game, especially not Revo, but yeah, nothing was saving that game. And we'll move on to number 18 now, which I'm going to throw Jeff Skinner. Where is he at? Skinner. Jeff Skinner, I'm going to throw him in that spot. Since coming back from injury, Jeff Skinner's been all right. Hasn't been very noticeable defensively, but he's got 2 goals and 4 assists. Both his goals came on the power play. And you'll notice as they go through these player stats, even strength scoring has been a problem for the Sharks recently. But Skinner slots in at number 18 here. Needs to be more of an impact player if he wants to find his way into the top 6. And number 17, it's number 22, is the player, Vinny Iorio, who's been just such a pleasant surprise this year. And I'm not upset at all with his play. Him being this low doesn't mean he's been playing poorly, but he's a third-pairing defenseman, and he's actually been logging a lot of minutes with Dickinson, which I'm happy about. And so I'm happy with Ioria's play, and the guys call him Oreo, so that's fun. He's been good. He's been physical. His stat line reads 2 assists and 17 block shots in his last 10 games. All right, coming in at number 16 now, I'm going to put Yaroslav Askarov, or Askarov. I'm going to go with Askarov. I watched on a podcast with a former NHL player one time. I forget who it was, but he's a Russian guy, and he said usually with Russian names you enunciate the second syllable. Askarov, Bobrovsky, Ovechkin, But then there's why isn't it Kucherov or Vasilevsky or whatever? I don't know. So I might alternate between Askarov and Askarov. I want to say Askarov because of that, and then I want to say Askarov because that's what Randy Hahn says, and Randy Hahn's usually right. I should probably just go with Askarov. Or Askarov. Whatever. Askey, who in his last 10 games has thrown up 6 wins and an .867 save percentage. Ouch. Yeah, he has not been good. He has not been good. He needs to be better. I think it's a few starts in a row now where he's kind of gotten shelled. And he was not able to be bailed out by the Sharks offense against Vegas. They put him in against good teams, so it'll stray his numbers in the other way. I mean, on 6 wins in there, there's definitely something to be said about that, but he needs to be better. I think the Sharks are winning in spite of their goaltending right now. All right, number 15, I'm going to put Barclay Goodrow there. Goody, he's always a guy who's going to be noticed off the score sheet. Leadership guy. I never want Goodrow to leave. I want a Goodrow jersey. I love Barclay Goodrow. And he slots in kind of middle of the pack here a little bit. Not really middle, more of the bottom half. But I think 15 is where he belongs because he's a fourth liner. So, yeah. So Barclay Goodrow there is going to slot at number 15. His stat line reads 2 assists and 17 hits in his last 10 games. And number 14 now is going to be Mr. Pavel Regenda. He's down here. Regenda's been solid since coming up, and his production's been fantastic. Regenda, who's got 6 goals in 8 games this season. He hasn't even played 10. He's the only guy on here with that other than Misa. But 6 goals, and then 20 hits in his last 10, or in his first 8 games as a San Jose Shark. So, yeah, he's been super good. And the hat trick in there, too. I mean, if you take away the fact that he had a hat trick, you got 3 goals in 7 games, which makes the stat line seem a bit less bloated. But the 20 hits speaks for itself. He's been good. He's been playing with Wenberg and Toffoli, and I think they need a power forward on that line because Toffoli's not going to hustle in get those pucks. But I think Smith will take Regenda's spot when he comes back. But Regenda's a very useful player. We have a lot of those, and it's not a bad problem to have. So I am happy with the way Regenda has been playing. At number 13, I'm going to throw a similar guy, Zach Ostapchuk. Not so much in the production department. Zach has 2 goals in his last 10 games. He has a 48% faceoff percentage and 24 hits to boot. Zach Ostapchuk's been very good, a very, very clutch goal against Columbus. I've been super impressed, and he's a guy who gets better and better every game. He's so fast. He's got to have one of the top speeds on the team, up there with Wenny and Macklin. Sorry about that. So yeah, Zach is a great player, and I'm happy we have him on the team. And it kind of harkens back to the Zetterlund trade, and makes me wonder, like, how did they know? A guy like Ostapchuk could be as impactful as a Zetterlund. Zetterlund impactful on the score sheet, Ostapchuk impactful in other ways. I know it's not even, but we got to find some solace in the fact that that trade was made, and there's a second round pick in there too. But credit to Greer and more specifically the pro scouts of the San Jose Sharks for finding Ostapchuk in the trade. All right, number 12. What do we got? Number 12 right here. John Klingberg is number 12. Klingy, who's been very good in his last stretch of games, but only playing 1 game coming back from injury makes me a bit skeptical. Klingy is a guy who's, older and has had a long injury history, and something like an injury can kill a lot of his momentum. And while he didn't look bad against Vegas, he didn't look great, but the whole team didn't look great. So I'm going to give him a few more games to kind of get his groove back. But if we start seeing consistent steps backwards for John Klingberg, then I'm, not really liking his chances of moving up in this power ranking. Klingberg's stat line over the past 10 games, 4 goals, 2 assists, and a +5 rating. That's what really impressed me about Klingberg, is his +5 rating. And on a team where almost everyone is minus, having a +5 rating is pretty good. So, especially for a defenseman who logs a lot of minutes. Although I don't know if Klingberg kills any penalties, so that's one thing. But he does play in the power play, so there's that. And the power play's been good. So, yep, Klingberg slotting in at number 12. Number 11, we're going to put Igor Chernyshov. Chernyshov has basically been on the top line for he has been on the top line for every single game he's played this season. He's looking at 3 goals, 4 assists, and 35 shot attempts for Igor Chernyshov, playing with both Macklin and Graf, and then Macklin and Eklund, which I think has been one of our best lines of the year so far. It's the Chernyshov, Macklin, Eklund line. Chernyshov's a power forward, and we need guys like that, and I pray he does not come out of the lineup if his production drops. Warsaw's a smart guy, and I'm confident that he wouldn't do that, but I'm just hoping he doesn't. All right, coming in at number 10, we're going to look at Mr. Alex Nedeljkovic. Now, Nedeljkovic, originally a guy who I wanted to have higher on this list. I got to pop off these injured guys. Just nuked him. Nedeljkovic, a guy who I originally was going to have higher on the list. I originally had him as high as 4th. But then I looked at his stats, 4 wins and then .876 save percentage, which is interesting because I feel like he's really kept the Sharks in some games, and that's why I don't have him down with the Askarov, but I also don't have him up with the top players. I kind of have him in the middle here at number 10. Nedeljkovic, who eyeball test has been really good, stat-wise is not, and only helping the Sharks win 40% of the games he's played in over the past 10-game stretch. We need our goaltending to be better. We have been winning in spite of it, and it just needs to get back to its November form, especially ASCII, but Ned as well. All right, coming in at number 9, we got Mario Ferraro. Ferraro, who I hope is not injured after that shot he blocked against Vegas. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't a shot block. It was a high stick, and he came back in the game, so he's fine. But Mario, who's a resilient warrior of a man, fighter, shot blocker, Um, Mario's got 2 goals, 2 assists, and he's logging 20 minutes per game in his last 10 games. And he's a guy who rarely ever comes out of the top 2 rows. He's a good player. I say rarely ever comes out, as if I've ever done this before, but I don't predict he'll ever come out of the top 2 rows because he's a fantastic defenseman, one of the best and one of the only ones we have on the team. All right, moving on to number 9. That was number 9. Number 8, excuse me, is number 9, Dmitry Orlov, another guy on the blue line. I think his game has stepped up a bit in recent memory. Orlov is looking at 2 goals. Nope, that's Ferraro. Sorry. Orlov's looking at 4 assists in his last 10 games, all on the power play. So 0 even strength points from Orlov is not what we need from our top, quote unquote, top offensive defenseman. I think Klingberg has kind of taken that role, but I was predicting it to be Orlov coming into the season. I want Dickinson to step up to be that role, but either way, even strength points needs to be better from all 3 of those guys. And everyone on our blue line, everyone on our offense. This is not an isolated Dmitry Orlov problem. This is we need to score more 5-on-5 goals. So Orlov logging 21 minutes a night, I think, is pretty high on the team. Maybe like second or third, but yeah, Orlov is number 8 on our list. And at number 7, we're looking at number 7-3, Tyler Toffoli. Toffoli, a guy who's been steadily climbing up the board. He's got that clutch factor about him. He's, just been pretty solid. He hasn't been as abysmal in terms of hustle as he was earlier in the season. His last 10 games, he's looking at 3 goals, 6 assists. He's looking at 57 shot attempts total over the past 10 games, which is good. I like that from Toffoli. He's got to shoot the puck. But 0 even strength goals. That's a big teller. I mean, Orlov's one thing, but Toffoli having 0 even strength goals over his past 10 games, and I really doubt of his 15 or so, if I'm remembering correctly, goals he has in the season, I'm kind of doubting that more than 5 of them are even strength. Toffoli needs to be better, and he needs to be better soon, or else Smith's going to take his spot in the top 6, and Regenda's going to stay up there, or Graf's going to stay up there, or Gaudette's going to go up there, if he wants to keep his spot in that top 6 and on the power play, he needs to be better. And that brings us to the top row. Looking at number 6 now, it is Adam Gaudette. Probably the first time I'd ever have him, if I was doing this for every week or every 2 weeks of the season, it's probably the first time I'd have him in the top 6 of our power rankings, as Adam Gaudette's been fantastic since coming back from injury and coming back into the lineup. In his past 10 games, Adam has 3 goals, 4 assists, and 30 shot attempts per game, including 2 power play goals. He has a very clutch goal against Dallas, and Adam Gaudette has been a chance generator. Generator is the word I was looking for. He's been generating chances. He's been hustling. He's always fast. He's always like a shoot first kind of guy. So I like that about Adam Gaudette. I think he's playing better all around than Tyler Toffoli right now, and I think he should be in the top 6. Next game, I just want to give him a shot, see what he can do. If he's playing with Wenny, I think he'll produce more than Toffoli has, just because of his hustle factor. And the fact that Regenda, being a big guy who hits, he's not the fastest guy in the world. But Gaudette has got some wheels on him, so I want to test that out and see if that will work. Coming in at number 5, Sam Dickinson, headlining our blue line for this game. Sammy, another guy who I probably wouldn't have had this high before this in the season. I feel like he's just looked super, super solid. He has been really good. 2 assists, 17 minutes per game. But his calmness with the puck, the way he's able to escape situations, and I didn't put his plus minus down here, but I bet you it's okay. I bet you it's just up there with the rest of the team. And he doesn't look rattled. He's 19 years old. He's right there with Macklin in terms of, unfazed child on the ice, So, happy with how Dickinson's been playing. And I hope he keeps it up, which moves us into our top 4. At 4th place, we're looking at Colin Graf, who's just been so impressive all season. I'm so happy that he made the team out of training camp, and I'm so happy that he has not proved the coaching staff wrong. He has 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 10 games, all even strength points. He is our top even strength point producer, other than, he who need not be named. He's also got 12 hits to boot, playing on a third line, usually with Delandria, but now he had Misa on there. And, Colin Graf's been fantastic. All right, looking at number 3 now is William Eklund. So X, you'd expect him to be this high. He's been super good and has really, really elevated his game ever since he's been promoted to the Celebrini line, which I think was about 5 games ago. So for about half the stretch, I'm about to tell you 3 goals, 4 assists, 58 shot attempts, and an OT game-winning goal against Los Angeles. William Eklund has looked really good with Macklin. I mean, everyone looks good with Macklin, but Eklund has really stepped it up. His puck protection is so fantastic, and he's been super impressive, and he just gets better every year, and he exceeds my expectations every year. And his production has been following, so I think he's probably second on the team in points now, since Will Smith's been injured for a while. But I'll have to look at that. But he's making a case to stay on that top line. Maybe it'll be a fight between him and Chernyshov for who gets replaced by Smith, if any of them. I don't think either of them should, but it is Will Smith we're talking about. Which brings us to number 2, Alex Wennberg. Ever since signing that extension, he has been phenomenal, but he's been phenomenal in general. Wennberg, one of the best defenders on the team, definitely the best defensive forward on the team. That second line does not give up a lot of goals. Credit to Toffoli and Regenda and Graf and Eklund and all the guys who have been on that line. But Wennberg, he's the centerpiece there. He's a penalty killer. He's got 3 goals, 7 assists, 6 of those assists coming at even strength, and 44% face-off percentage in this last 10 games. Wennberg has been really good, and he's an Olympian, along with Mr. Regenda and Mr. Kurashev. Which brings us to an unsurprising number 1, Macklin Celebrini. Who is surprised? I'm not. Macklin Celebrini has been the best player on the team since he has touched the ice in his NHL debut last October. It's Macklin. 6 goals, 11 assists in his last 10 games. He's logging 24 minutes a night, which leads the team. He's got 55% face-off percentage and 84 shot attempts. Holy. Wow. Crazy good. Curiously, he's at a 0 plus-minus, even though he's got 17 points in his last 10 games, which is crazy. He's got 0 plus-minus. I say curiously, not because I don't know why. He's really struggled defensively recently, and he's given up a lot of goals, and his line is the number 1 line that gets hemmed in. They need to be better, especially Chernyshov. Needs to be better defensively, especially in their own zone. But, Chernyshov's on game 12 or whatever. Macklin's in year 2. Eklund is a young kid. You expect that from these kind of guys. Whereas we got a couple of veterans on that second line with Wennberg and Toffoli. So I kind of expect that from Macklin. So that brings us to the end of the power rankings. If anyone watches this, doubtful, but if anyone does, please let me know what you guys think in the comment section below of this template of video. If you guys have any changes, I know I accidentally I dropped my pencil at one point, which made a noise, and I cracked my knuckles instinctively at one point, which made a noise, and I also tabbed out on accident. Like I have a little thing down here with some logos just for reference, and I accidentally went into that for a second. So I'll clean up the mistakes as we go, and I'll have that update video with the kind of videos I'm coming out with soon for you guys, hopefully in the near future. I'll have a preview for tomorrow's game against Washington tomorrow. I'll probably have that up around 3 o'clock tomorrow. And I'll have a review afterwards for you guys as well. And then I think they're in Detroit the day after, so I'll have a preview and a review for that game for you guys as well. And then this weekend, I'll debut a couple more weekly or bi-weekly things that we got going on, including some around the league stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Go Sharks go, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.